In today's video, I'm coming at you with a shopping haul from one of my favorite places in the whole world to shop designer, and that is Bicester Village. And if you don't know what Bicester Village is, you've never been before, well, where have you been, first of all, because it's only the best outlet mall, at least in the UK anywhere. And it's my favorite by far, and I get the best discounts, I feel, and the most value for money at the same time. And so actually, I made a trip this weekend, and I have two big bags behind me that you can see to show and unwrap with you guys. And I've been waiting so patiently to open this live with you guys. As you can see, stickers, at least on this one over here, are still on the bag, so I can't wait to show you what I bought. And this video is kind of like a bittersweet video because while it's so exciting that I get to show you fellow luxury lovers out there what I bought over this weekend, it's also a little bit depressing because at the time of filming this, in the UK, there's been a new wave of restrictions announced. We're going back into lockdown. I think it's going to be the same as back when we had a lockdown in March. It's just as harsh, potentially if not worse, given that it's a rolling basis. I think they're going to extend it beyond the month that they're forecasting anyway before Christmas. So this shopping trip, little did I know, was going to be the last one possibly of this calendar year actually that I'll be able to make face to face, because although I've really enjoyed the ease of shopping online to date, it's what I've been doing for the past few months, there's nothing quite like shopping in a physical environment, human contact. And even though we had to wear masks and things like that, which I'll talk a little bit about in a bit, it's just going to be so strange not to go back out into the physical world anymore for a month. So that's something that I'm not looking forward to, and I'm glad I managed to step out of the house while I could. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that this will all be over very soon in the next month or so, especially before Christmas, and especially during all this Black Friday madness. I guess it's all going to have to be online. Anyway, that's a massive tangent. Let me get into this part of the haul, and let me just tell you about some of the things that I saw before going into the things that I got behind me. So I've been shopping at Bicester for the last few years now, on and off. I usually go like once a year. This year I went twice. I guess it's good because that apparently counts as my form of social contact this year. So I decided actually to make the trip up to Bicester this weekend for 3 reasons actually. So the first one being, I got an email from Bicester Village that I was invited to a private sale. So obviously the best way to contact me, it seems, is by telling me there's a designer sale. And it worked because the private sale information said about there was up to like 30% off additional discount on top of Bicester Village, because obviously with Bicester Village being an outlet mall anyway, they're already discounted. The fact that there was going to be more discounts very much piqued my interest. So there was one. Number 2 was, and I'll just preface this by saying I'm no financial expert, so do with this information what you will, but I did get an email from Amex. I think I mentioned it in my last video as well, that I would get cash back on top of a certain amount to spend using my American Express. So I think it was like spend 300, get 40 back, which is pretty good if you consider everything in Bicester Village is probably gonna be around the 300 mark. I mean, if you were to buy a bag, for example, that would be quadruple that, right? So I thought, you know what, I might just go along, see what's out there and take advantage of this offer because it seemed applicable on lots of brands. Ironically for me, none of these ones, but I went with family, so it was all good. Managed to take advantage. And then the third reason was because it was Halloween, wanted to get some pumpkins. So went to a pumpkin patch called The Patch MK. It's in Milton Keynes. It was about half an hour drive from Bicester Village. So it all seemed like a nice little bow on top of a fun-filled day. And I guess just if you haven't been as well, I'll insert some clips that I took of some of the shops and what's on offer this autumn-winter in Bicester Village. I had to do it covert style because I've seen in previous videos, and also with the amount of security guards around, maybe because of the climate that we're in, that it was just not going to be a go for me to record outwardly, which I would have loved to have done. But now I have so much respect for people who do vlogging. Hopefully the footage you can see some of the things that were on offer. And there's a lot of mid to high-end brands there. Obviously you won't see things like Chanel or Hermes there, but you can see there's Fendi, there's Prada, Gucci. Unfortunately I wasn't able to go into Dior or Louboutin. I don't think I had luck the last time I went to Bicester a few months ago this summer either, so there seems to be a theme. But as you can imagine, those big brands that I just rolled off for you, they also had bigger queues because of the digital queuing that's in place at Bicester. So some of the big changes that I've noticed actually in Bicester this past year compared to previous times that I've been is obviously the mask mandate, you kind of get a feeling of being like shamed for it. So I've just worn my mask the whole day, even while we're outside as well. Also within each shop, there are hand sanitizing stations, even at the restaurants, etc. Even at the cash points, there are hand sanitizers everywhere. So my hands were so dry because they make you literally wash your hands in hand sanitizer every single store that you go into. And obviously they check that you've got your mask on and everything. And in fact, actually, when you come into the Bicester Village outlet itself, they do like a temperature check. They make sure you have your mask, etc. Anyway. And then the digital queuing is the big thing that they've introduced this year, which is good in a way, but also frustrating. The good is that obviously you don't have to spend hours queuing outside the Gucci, which always has queues. That's never changed. The bad is that they frequently close the digital queues, and you have to it's just a matter of luck if you're walking by, they turn the digital queue back on. And so that happened a couple of times actually when we were queuing for Gucci, which ended up being a really late night stint actually, because we ended up queuing and walking around the village waiting for the digital queues to go back up, and then waiting once we were in the digital queue for that to be our turn. So that was about an hour and a half at least. We waited until basically closing time for Gucci. Thankfully we bought something there, right? Otherwise it would have been a waste of time. But we had also queued for places like Louboutin, and Louboutin we didn't even get to go in the end because it was just so late. And a bunch of other places, obviously the Burberry, Prada, Fendi as well, we had to queue, but it was a lot shorter, and it just so happened that we were in the right place at the right time, and we just managed to scan the digital queue, go about on our journey for the rest of the day, and then come back as soon as we were called. So that was okay actually, but overall it was just the process of being in these shops was just a lot more drawn out because of the physical limits that they had. Dior actually we couldn't go into because I think their capacity is like 12 people or something. It's quite a small store. Other places we didn't have a problem, so going into some of the more lower to mid-tier brands we didn't have an issue going in and out. But overall I would say it was quite organised. The stuff also that was in the shops is a mixture of current season, which is interesting and good to see I guess, but also a mixture of stuff that's from past seasons. I've seen stuff from past 2 seasons come back, but overall I thought it was quite organised. There are some areas which seem a little bit like jumble sale. So for example, like some of the Gucci scarves are just like everywhere, just sprawled out. Burberry scarves also. I think there's just something about scarves and the fact that they're just strewn across the room like everywhere. But overall, very organised. And I did feel quite safe, although some of the pushing and shoving and some of the people that were heckling some of the store clerks because they had a capacity, it was a bit annoying, not gonna lie. Brings out the worst in people, you know, when you're trying to shop for stuff. But otherwise, I had a very nice time. Spent probably like 5 hours there, which seemed like a lot of time, but it went so quickly, especially when you're queuing as well. That's a lot of time that elapses. And I actually ended up getting there for around 4:30 because we did pumpkin patch early in the day, and then actually staying until closing, which was 9 o'clock on Saturday. So usually they have quite long opening hours till 9 p.m. most days apart from Sunday. But of course, at the time of viewing this video, that won't matter anyway because we're in lockdown. Anyway, so that is my rundown of the Bicester experience. Highly recommend that you go once restrictions ease, hopefully soon. And anyway, I will stop babbling on and I will show you what is behind me because I actually only bought 2 items. Like I said, I did go with family as well, so other things were bought that weren't mine. And actually, you'd think going to a place which is essentially like a shopper's paradise, it would be so easy to buy stuff. It's actually a lot harder than I thought it would be to buy stuff that you actually want or need. Maybe it's my shopping career thus far. I've ticked all the boxes and I don't like to buy duplicates of things as well. I was looking for 2 key items. I will open this one first because this is from Acne and I actually went to Acne first. This one is probably my next or very close tied for best Bicester purchase ever. Second to my Givenchy Antigona in nude, which I got a few years ago, which was such a good steal. I'm gonna open it now and it is so big that it won't even fit into frame. It's massive and it's quite heavy actually, so maybe you guys can guess already what it is. And Acne Studios, I've known them mostly, of course, for their coats. I know they do things like knitwear and scarves and things like that, but just while I do a little bit of preamble while I get this tape off because it's really, really stuck here. I've always wanted this coat, and I honestly didn't think that I would get it on this trip because usually they don't do like classic items in Bicester Village. When I saw this, I did a double take because I was like, surely this item is not part of this sale. And lo and behold, it was. And it was an amazing price as well. So I've got the receipt here. And a funny story, actually, before I just open this. We actually saw someone famous that you might know if you're from the UK. In fact, it was my mum who recognised him. My mum was like, look over, turn around, after we were just paying up for this. I turned around and I just, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Reggie Yates. Did not get to speak to him, unfortunately. By the time I'd realised who he was, where he was, he'd already left the store and I was still card in hand, you know, paying up. So that's a shame, but I'm very glad to say that I shop like Reggie does, and I guess that's a good thing, isn't it? But anyway, this bag is now open and I'm going to take this bad boy out. And if you haven't guessed what kind of coat, well, you definitely will now, because it is the Acne Velocite jacket, and I'm going to have to decant, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to decant the coat from the bag. It's just so big. Ah! And let me just peel off the dust cover. This coat is the, like I said, the Velocite jacket. It's in the colour sand and walnut, and it is, I believe, in composition. It's like 100% cotton on the inside. It's got outer is 100% sheepskin, calf skin, and I think just like sheep's fur. I got it in size 34, which I was honestly quite surprised at myself for. I've tried this coat on like a couple of years ago, and I think a 36 was good actually. I guess with this one, it just so happened actually that this size 34 was the only jacket that was available, and it was by the door actually. As soon as I walked in, I was like, I can't believe I'm just seeing this jacket right about now. Is this correct? Because usually the Acne Velocite jackets, if you know about this jacket, you'll know it was everywhere a couple of years ago, and I think, let's see actually, because it's locked down at the moment, but I'll be certainly checking it out this deep winter anyway, if people are wearing the black one, because that one was just, you could not even buy the dupes, let alone the real one, and the real one retails for about £2,200. So that's quite a lot of money for a coat, but apparently people had it because I couldn't get my hands on it for the real deal. I ended up actually buying a Zara dupe, which, if you guys have been on my channel for a while, I made that video a couple of years ago, and it seems to be one of my most viewed videos, but it's also my most hated, I think, which is so funny to me that people are so triggered by a satire video. But anyway, that jacket was very, very saturated. Everybody was wearing it, especially the black one. I don't think I even saw any other colours, and I'd worn it for a good few months actually before then letting it go, selling it, and realising, you know what, actually I've tested it out. I do see a use case to me wearing this, so I'm gonna invest in it. But at the time, I remember once I'd made the decision a few months later, that it was already summertime, and then these coats were very few and far between anyway, and I just couldn't really justify or bring myself to spend over £2,000 on a coat. So I just kind of left it for many years, and lo and behold, I was always looking for a sheepskin shearling coat anyway. It didn't have to be in this style. As soon as I walked into Acne, which is probably about an hour into the Bicester shopping experience, yeah, I just knew it had to be mine, and lo and behold, it was in the correct size when I tried it on. So I will insert shots of me wearing it if that is helpful. It is so warm. It is so true what they say in those reviews that you may have even watched on other YouTubers. They all talk about this coat, and they have done for the last few years, and there is a reason why. It is heavy, but it's heavy for a reason, because it's so warm. This is the perfect winter coat. It's very, very high quality. I love all the details as well. It's very well made. And I think this colour is very, very versatile as well. And I just wanted something that looked a bit different from the black. If this was there in black, I think I still would have bought it. But obviously with the amount of dupes that are available at the moment, everyone wearing the same thing, it doesn't appeal to me. I like to try and do something a little bit different, but also I have a lot of black coats, so there's also that. They did have other colours actually that they brought out from the back. They had a deep red, a brighter red as well, but I think this was the only like neutral one. I'm not sure, they might have other sizes. I did ask for a 34 or 36, which I believe is a UK 6 or 8 as well. These coats do fit very, very big though, so actually this 34 worked out really, really well for me, to my surprise. And although it is the oversized look, you don't want it to be super, super oversized either. And this actually is perfect. In fact, I have quite broad shoulders because of like the gym and stuff, so I was pleasantly surprised that the 34 fit on me, but I would say you might want to actually go into a store and try it on, because actually I was smaller than my usual size would be. So anyways, what you're probably wanting to know is the price. And I did allude earlier that the full price, which I was not going to be prepared to pay at any point in time really, the original price was $2,200. So actually, to my surprise, this one was retailing then in the outlet at £1,050. So I really did a double take when I saw that price tag. But then actually, when I'd asked about the private sale, because that's actually why I went, and Acne was participating, I asked them what they were participating in and what kind of discounts to expect. And they took off another 10% on top of this price. So in total, I think I paid about £940. £945. So they took off an additional £105, which is amazing. So that is a major win, and that's why it's like on the leaderboard for like my best ever Bicester Village purchase. I'm so happy with this, and I cannot wait to start wearing it out because it is getting quite chilly in the UK right about now. I'll move on to the final item, which is the Lavrov Bag here. I needed a pair of shoes, and the pair of shoes that I needed, I say needed because no one needs luxury, right, to function, but I did want a good pair of boots. I have a very, very, very battered and bruised pair of Tommy Hilfiger Chelsea boots, which are my absolute favourite, but I've literally bust them up so much that the sides of the shoe are coming off. I would say I'd bring it over to show you, but it's just not good. It doesn't look good for me, okay? The size I think was like a wooden block heel, and it just got battered and bruised. I've worn that thing over like climbing rocks and things like that, and recently I lost the zipper on it, so that flew off somewhere, can't find it, so I thought, you know what, it might be time to get some new boots, Mel. And I'd actually never bought from Karl Lagerfeld before, actually. So, I mean, obviously, aside from Chanel, this is the box here. It's a little bit battered, I'm not going to lie, and not because of me, actually, but it just came like that, so it's a very different experience from the Chanel one. It's a funny story. I actually got these while I was... Essentially, my mum bought a pair of shoes at the beginning of the shopping trip. It's a really cute pair of Karl Lagerfeld trainers, kind of like the Balenciaga runners in a way, but cute with the cat and Carl cartoons. And then we went to Gucci towards the end of the day, and, you know, I was saying we were there for like hours, and we were literally there till the end of like closing time, basically. And she found a nice pair of Gucci runners, and one thing led to another. Had to do a mad dash to refund the thing. Couldn't refund it, had to do an exchange. So I ended up buying a pair of shoes for myself, and these are a pair of shoes. As you can see, very Chelsea boot, typical style here. And you got a zipper on the side for easy access, but the thing that's different actually is this chain, obviously at the front here, which is quite bougie, gaudy, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't sure of it when I bought it, because obviously I'd rush purchase this in the last 10 minutes before closing. I picked the best shoe that they had there, and this was it. And the more I look at them, the more I like them, because it does fit the requirement that I had of a Chelsea boot, a durable one as well, especially in UK weather. And I really actually like the croc detailing on the boot itself. Obviously, for me, my personal preference would have been to have without the chains on the front, but I do think they look kind of edgy, and I think actually matched with this coat, it could all look really nice. I thought it was a nice twist on a classic Chelsea boot. I think in terms of the materials, the top is, it is leather, So it's made of leather and / synthetic upper, balanced man-made, and then it says made in China. Made in China, interesting choice, given that Chanel is like made in France and Italy and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, obviously Carl's brand is a bit more low to mid tier in terms of pricing. It's a bit more of an affordable, approachable price point. So I've got the receipt here. It's got Carl's little face on it, and the cost of it, let me just see. So I actually bought this for £175. I'm not sure what the original price was actually. I think it was about 200. So this is very, very fair, and it's within the price range actually of the original Chelsea boots I got from Tommy Hilfiger. So I'm very pleased to add this into my collection. And so that is actually everything that I wanted to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've been recently, and I will see you in my next video.